How would you like to be able to cook a roast or a pork loin and have it so tender you can cut it or slice it with a butter knife? Well, stay tuned and I'm going to show you how. Hello and welcome to another video of My Is Repair. I am your host, Mr. Fix-It. In this video, it's going to be a little different. I know most of the videos that I do are dealing with computers and electronics, or my friend does small engines. Well, this time around, people have been asking me about how do I cook my roast and my loins to where they're still tender and juicy. Well, usually when you slice into a roast, you usually have the regular carving knives and a fork to slice the roast or the pork loin. What if I told you that even though that sometimes when you cook your roast in the oven it turns out a little dry? Well, what I'm about to show you is going to change all that around. Not only will you be able to slice it with a carving knife, but you'll also be able to slice it with a butter knife. Now, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to have your pork loin or your roast, whatever you're going to use. You want to take it out of the package, make a note of the pounds, because that's going to be important here later on, because you're going to need to know how much it weighs. You're going to need some aluminum foil, and you're going to need a pan to put the roast on, or the loin, to put it in the oven, because you want it, in case it leaks, you want to be able to catch the drippings from your roast. So let me go ahead and set this aside. What I want to do here is go ahead and roll out my aluminum foil. And you want to get it about a little longer than what the loin is, as you see here. Once you get that done, it won't be too bad if you have a little extra, because you are going to need it. And we'll rip that off. Just lay it on your counter here. The next thing you want to do is go ahead and grab your roast. Now, when you take it out of the package, you want to go ahead and rinse it off with cold water, and then take a paper towel to pat it down so you don't have excess moisture or water in your meat. It's going to have plenty of it when it starts cooking. Now, the next thing you want to do, once you get it on your aluminum foil, you want to go ahead, season it if you want to. Most of the time, I'll put a little seasoning on it, and oftentimes I'll always put black pepper. Now, what you can also do, if you'd like, you can also flip the roast over, and if you want to, you can season it too. It's not required, but you can if you want. Now, once you have your loin or your roast seasoned the way you like it, now what you'll be ready to do is we're going to wrap the aluminum foil around the loin. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, wrap the loin up. Like so. You want to make sure that you're using heavy duty aluminum foil. Try not to crease it up if you can. Now once you have it nice and tight, you want it nice and snug, you can take your ends, you want to fold them down. And then fold them nice and tight around your loin, like so. This will help keep the moisture and your heat inside. And that way everything cooks inside this. You don't have to worry about evaporation. A lot of times if you just put it in there by itself, then a lot of times a lot of the moisture will cook out of the meat and it's going to make it dry, and we don't want that. Now once you have it tied up and you have it nicely packed, if you need to use 2 tin foils, that's fine, as long as you can completely wrap the loin. Now I'm going to get my pan here and then put this onto my pan. It's a little bit bigger than the pan, but that's okay. You get it nice and tight, and then you're ready to put it in the oven. Now once you get your loin prepared and you get it on your pan, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put it in a cold oven. That's right, I did say a cold oven. We're not going to preheat the oven like most recipes call for, and most directions always say to put them in a preheated oven. We're not going to do that with this. You put it in a cold oven, like so here. You want to have your rack about in the middle of your oven, and then put your pan with your loin on top of the rack, and then close the door. Now to do this, you want to remember the weight pound that I told you to make a note of. Well, to do this, we're going to set your oven for bake. We're going to turn it up to 500 degrees. As you see here, and then we're going to turn it on. Now, once your oven begins, you need to set the timer. The roast needs to cook 8 minutes per pound. Again, that when you take the note of the weight of your meat, you need to multiply that by 8 minutes per pound. That will give you the time that the roast needs to cook. In this case, my roast was 5.7 pounds. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and set my cook timer. This way, when the time's up, it automatically shuts off the oven. So now we're going to set this. I'm going to set it for about 45 minutes. Up, and go back down. Once you have that set up, now as you can see here, I have my oven set. I've got it set for 500 degrees. It's counting up. I've got it set for 45 minutes. Now this oven here has a cook timer on it, meaning that when the timer ends, it shuts off my oven. In your case, you'll need to set your own kitchen timer if you need to. When the timer's up, shut the oven off. Now, once your timer goes off, or your oven stops, go ahead and turn your oven off. And just let it cool. Leave the roast in there and just let it cool. And it's going to take about an hour, hour and a half, depending on your oven. So we'll come back and I'll show you the roast after it cooks. Now, once the oven has cooled down, what you'll want to do now is go ahead and take your roast out. Now, be careful when you take it out of the oven. It's going to be still warm. Next thing you want to do, you're going to notice that you need one of these pans because all the juices may fall into the pan, so you don't make a mess in your oven. And it's going to be a little hot. Now once you open it, you can let its juices drain. Now a lot of times what I'll do is I'll poke a hole in the bottom and let the juices drain into the pan, what's left of it. And there is the roast. As you can see, it's nice, juicy, it's not dried out. Now what I'm going to do is transfer the meat or the roast to my cutting board. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and slice it. Now as you can see, I'm already started slicing my loin. What I'm going to do here now is show you just how tender this is. I am going to use a butter knife to slice my loin. And what I want to do here is show you just how easy that this stuff is tender and I can slice it through with a butter knife. Just like that. I can slice this with a butter knife. Now, if I can slice this with a butter knife, that should tell you just how tender this pork loin is. Well, I'm the host, Mr. Fix-It from US Repair. Enjoy.